They thought the story was over, but what if everything you saw was just the beginning of something much bigger? The truth is, the Madison never really gave us a clean ending, it only made it feel that way. And that's exactly why so many fans didn't notice what was quietly happening beneath the surface. On the outside, it looked like the story had reached a natural stopping point. Conflicts were settled, emotions were resolved, and key characters seemed to find some kind of peace. It gave viewers that familiar feeling of closure, like the journey had finally come full circle. But when you take a closer look, that perfect ending starts to feel a little strange. Think about how quickly everything wrapped up. The problems that once felt so big were suddenly handled in a very smooth way. Characters who struggled for so long suddenly found answers almost too easily. At first, it feels satisfying, you feel relieved, but then something doesn't sit right. It feels rushed, almost like the story is hiding something instead of finishing it. And that's where the real genius of the show begins to reveal itself. Because what if that sense of closure was never meant to be real? What if it was carefully designed to distract the audience? Instead of giving a true ending, the show created an illusion, a calm moment before something much bigger unfolds. This is a classic storytelling trick, but here it's done in such a subtle way that most viewers didn't even realize it was happening. The writers didn't close the story, they paused it. If you go back and rethink those final moments, you start to see small cracks in that perfect ending. Certain character decisions don't fully make sense. Some emotions feel unfinished, like they were cut short. And a few important questions are left hanging, even though it seemed like everything was answered. These are not mistakes, these are deliberate choices. They are quiet signals that the story is far from over. And this is exactly why season 2 feels so unexpected. Not because it came out of nowhere, but because the show made sure you wouldn't see it coming. It guided you toward a sense of completion, while secretly building the foundation for something deeper, darker, and more complex. The ending wasn't an ending at all, it was a setup carefully hidden in plain sight. Now, when fans look back, that final chapter feels completely different. What once seemed like closure now feels like the calm before a storm, and suddenly every moment carries a new meaning. What made that ending feel complete was not the story itself, but the way it was presented. The pacing slowed down at just the right moment, the music and emotions were softer, and the characters seemed more at peace than ever before. In the Madison, this created a strong sense that everything had finally settled. But when you step back and really think about it, that feeling of peace was carefully constructed, almost like a mask placed over something unfinished. Several key storylines appeared to reach their natural end, but they did so in a way that avoided deeper consequences. Characters who had been dealing with heavy emotional struggles suddenly made decisions that felt too simple for the weight they had been carrying. Instead of exploring those emotions fully, the story moved past them quickly, giving just enough resolution to satisfy viewers in the moment. It felt comforting but also slightly incomplete, as if something important had been left unsaid. This illusion becomes even clearer when you focus on character relationships. Bonds that were once filled with tension and conflict suddenly became calm and stable. Conversations that should have been difficult were wrapped up in just a few lines. It gave the impression that everyone had grown and moved on, but in reality, those changes happened too fast to feel fully real. It's almost like the characters were stepping into a temporary version of themselves just to create the idea of closure. Another important detail is how certain questions were never truly answered. Instead of clear explanations, the story offered hints that could easily be overlooked. At first, it doesn't seem like a problem because the emotional tone distracts you from asking deeper questions. But once the episode ends and you think about it again, those missing answers start to stand out. Why did some choices feel rushed? Why were some reactions so controlled, even in intense moments? These gaps are not accidental, they are intentional spaces left open for what comes next. The setting itself also plays a role in this illusion. Everything looks calm, almost too calm, as if the world of the story is trying to convince you that nothing more needs to happen. But that calmness doesn't feel earned. It feels like a pause, not a conclusion. And that difference is important because it changes how we understand everything that came before it. Instead of seeing the ending as a final chapter, it starts to feel like a quiet transition into something new. What makes this approach so effective is how natural it feels while you're watching it. There's no obvious sign that the story is holding something back. It flows smoothly, guiding your emotions in a way that makes you accept the ending without questioning it. Only later do you realize that the story didn't actually close its biggest doors. It simply made you believe they were closed. This is where the brilliance of the writing truly stands out. By creating a false sense of resolution, the show manages to surprise its audience without needing a loud or shocking moment. The real twist is not what happens, but what doesn't happen. The story chooses not to go deeper when you expect it to, and that choice leaves space for a much bigger continuation. Season 2 is not starting a new story, it is continuing one that was never truly finished. When you start looking closely, you begin to notice the hidden clues that the Madison planted throughout season 1. Moments that didn't make sense at first but now feel like pieces of a larger puzzle. These were subtle details, almost invisible unless you were paying real attention. A glance here, a line of dialogue there, even small visual cues in the background, all hinted at what was coming. The writers weren't just telling a story, they were laying the foundation for something much bigger, a plan carefully constructed to unfold in season 2. Take the characters, for example. Certain decisions they made seemed minor at the time, almost casual. A throwaway comment about a past event, a lingering look at someone they shouldn't have trusted, or even a hesitation before a crucial choice. All of these were deliberate signs pointing toward the future. Fans might have laughed off these moments or thought they were just part of everyday drama, but in reality, they were breadcrumbs leading to a larger narrative. The genius lies in how easily these clues were overlooked, hiding in plain sight while setting the stage for a shocking continuation. Visual symbolism played a big role too. In some episodes, objects were positioned in a way that seemed random, but looking back, they hint at future conflicts or secrets. A door left slightly ajar, a shadow falling across a character at a key moment, or even a scene framed to emphasize something small yet meaningful. These were all intentional. The show's creators used visual storytelling to communicate what couldn't yet be said in words, giving attentive viewers an unspoken roadmap of what's to come. It's the kind of writing that rewards those who pay attention, and it creates an experience that deepens with each rewatch. Dialogue was another tool for these hidden clues. Certain lines that felt casual or even inconsequential at first glance actually carry weight when revisited. Characters would ask questions or make statements that seemed unrelated only for their meaning to reveal itself later. For example, a remark about a past mistake, a warning to another character, or even an offhand joke might foreshadow a secret, a betrayal, or a major twist in season 2. These lines are carefully placed so that the audience, while entertained, remains unaware of the hidden narrative threads being woven. Some plot threads themselves were designed to feel complete but were intentionally left slightly unresolved. Characters might appear to make final decisions, but subtle inconsistencies in behavior hint at a larger agenda. A friend who suddenly disappears, a conflict that resolves too neatly, or a sudden turn of events that feels slightly off all contribute to a sense that something bigger is about to emerge. These are the silent signals telling viewers that the story isn't finished, it's evolving. Even the emotional beats of the story play a role in these hidden clues. Certain reactions from characters might feel overdone or understated, but they're meant to signal deeper internal struggles that will resurface. A moment of regret, guilt, or unspoken desire that isn't fully explored immediately becomes critical when looking forward. These emotional hints are the scaffolding for character arcs that are set to explode in season 2, giving the audience a richer, more complex story than they initially realized. All of these subtle elements combine to create a tapestry of storytelling that is both clever and deceptive. On the surface, season 1 feels complete and satisfying, but beneath that surface lies a network of clues, suggestions, and foreshadowing that builds anticipation for what is to come. The show didn't just wrap up its story, it carefully concealed the beginnings of its next chapter, making the eventual continuation feel like a natural yet completely unexpected evolution. By paying attention to these hidden details, fans are now beginning to understand just how much planning went into every scene. What seemed casual or insignificant was actually a part of a deliberate setup for the drama, mystery, and surprises that will define season 2. Every small moment, every glance, every word spoken carries double meaning, ensuring that when the story continues, it will feel both surprising and inevitable. The brilliance lies in how seamlessly the show prepares its audience for the next chapter while making them believe they already know the ending. Season 1 wasn't the conclusion, it was the quiet preparation. And now, as season 2 approaches, those subtle clues are finally coming into focus, revealing just how much the writers were planning all along, creating a story that's deeper, richer, and far more surprising than anyone could have imagined. Season 2 of the Madison promises to take everything we thought we knew and turn it on its head. The setup was never obvious, and that's exactly why fans were caught off guard. Season 1 gave us a sense of closure, but it carefully left doors open, paths unexplored, and tension simmering beneath the surface. Now, those hidden threads are beginning to reveal themselves, showing us that what comes next will be bigger, more intense, and more unpredictable than anyone expected. One of the most striking aspects of this setup is how it positions the characters for major evolution. People who seemed predictable or one dimensional in season 1 are suddenly on the verge of transformation. A character who appeared loyal may start questioning their alliances. Another who seemed fragile may find a hidden strength that shifts the balance of power entirely. The writers didn't just plan story arcs, they planted seeds of personal growth, inner conflict, and betrayal that are perfectly timed for maximum impact. Season 2 will explore these changes, revealing sides of the characters we didn't even suspect existed. The dynamics between characters are also set to become far more complex. Relationships that felt resolved are about to be tested in ways that will force difficult choices. Friendships may fracture, alliances may be betrayed, and unexpected partnerships could form in response to new threats. These evolving connections are more than just drama, they're the engine that will drive the narrative forward, keeping viewers constantly guessing about who can be trusted and who has hidden motives. Every interaction in season 1 that seemed innocent now takes on new meaning, hinting at conflicts that will dominate the next chapter. Beyond individual characters, the world of the show itself is expanding. Season 2 isn't just continuing the story, it's broadening the stage. Locations, organizations, and unseen forces that were hinted at in Season 1 are likely to take a more central role, introducing new challenges and raising the stakes. These elements create a sense of scale and depth, making the story feel larger and more immersive. The audience will not only follow the characters but also navigate a world that feels alive, dangerous, and full of secrets waiting to be uncovered. The setup also introduces the possibility of new antagonists and unexpected threats. Season 1's conflicts were carefully chosen to mask the deeper struggles to come. Now, we can anticipate adversaries who are not only powerful but strategic, forcing characters to adapt in ways that push them to their limits. These threats will test loyalties, challenge personal beliefs, and force decisions with lasting consequences. The writers have left enough ambiguity to allow for surprises, meaning even fans who think they figured out the story could be caught off guard. Subtle foreshadowing from the first season now takes on a clearer significance. Lines of dialogue that seemed casual, small gestures, and lingering shots were all placed intentionally. Each moment functions as a piece of a larger puzzle, guiding the audience toward revelations without ever giving them the full picture. As season 2 unfolds, these clues will converge, allowing fans to connect the dots and see how everything was meticulously planned from the start. Season 2 is also shaping up to be emotionally richer. While season 1 balanced tension with resolution, the next season promises to explore deeper, more personal stakes. Characters will face moral dilemmas, confront past mistakes, and wrestle with desires they've previously ignored. This emotional depth will not only enhance the drama but also make each victory, betrayal, or loss feel more profound. The audience will be invested in the characters' journeys on a much more intimate level because every action and decision will carry weight. Finally, what makes this continuation so compelling is how unexpected it feels. The careful setup ensures that even attentive fans are surprised by the twists and turns. Season 2 isn't just an extension, it's a transformation. The story will reveal hidden layers, challenge assumptions, and deliver moments that feel both shocking and inevitable. By planting seeds throughout season 1, the show has ensured that when the curtain rises on the new season, viewers will be fully immersed in a narrative that is richer, darker, and far more intricate than they ever imagined. Season 2 is the payoff of everything carefully hidden, and fans are about to discover just how much the first season was preparing them for this. The stage is set, the pieces are moving, and the story is ready to unfold in ways no one saw coming. Every unresolved question, every subtle hint, and every hidden tension from season 1 is now a doorway into the dramatic, unexpected, and thrilling world of what's next.